This is going to be the first of many videos to come that teach you Algebra 2. So, let's just dive right in. Notation. There are three ways you can represent a range of numbers. Those three ways are as an inequality, which looks like this, as an interval, which either has parentheses or brackets and looks like this, or as set notation, which is the same as an inequality. You just kind of put something in front of it. So like if I needed to write this particular inequality in set notation, you just write a squiggly, X, line, and then you copy the inequality again. And then you close it with the squiggly. Okay. Now, there are some things that you need to know. Let's use example 2. You need to be able to recognize the difference between an open circle and a closed circle. So, So, open circles use less than symbols and they use parentheses. Closed circles use less than or equal to symbols and they use brackets. That's really all there is to it. So let's just go through some examples. The first one, and by the way, when you write an inequality or interval notation, your little number goes on the left. And your big number goes on the right. All right, so let's see a couple examples. This first one, my little number on the left is -3. My number on the right, the bigger number, is 2. So as an inequality, this looks like this, -3. Now this at -3, it's a closed circle. So I used a less than or equal to. And then at 2, it's a closed circle, so I use a less than or equal to. And that would be an inequality. Interval, at -3 and at 2, it has a closed circle. So I'm going to be using brackets because of that on both of these. All right, this next one. Find your endpoints, so -3 and 2 again. But this time at -3, it's an open circle. So that means when I write it as an inequality, I just use a less than symbol. Notice it does not have the or equal to like before. And then at 2, it still has a closed circle, so it needs a less than or equal to. And in interval form, that -3 part, since it's an open circle, has a parentheses. Like that. And the 2 still has a bracket because it's closed circle. Okay, the next one. You kind of have to look at this arrow and realize that it means it's going to keep going forever, all the way until -infinity. It's going to go left all the way until -infinity. So that's your little number. I know infinity makes you think it's a big number, but you're talking about a -infinity, so it goes on the left. It's considered the littler number. On the right, it's at 2 with a closed circle. So as an inequality, this is going to look like this. -infinity less than x less than or equal to 2. Now, look at this. I put a less than symbol next to the -infinity. Anytime you see infinity or -infinity, you're going to want to use a less than. That was bad. You're going to want to use a less than example. And so that means you're always going to use a parentheses with -infinity or positive infinity when you write it in interval form. So over here at interval form, I would start out with the parentheses, not a bracket. -infinity to 2. 2 has a closed circle, so it gets a bracket. All right, this last one. Here's my endpoint at 2, and then this other side has an arrow. That means it's going to keep going forever to the right towards positive infinity. So if I wanted to write this as an inequality, 2 is my little number. It's an open circle, so I just use a less than, x in the middle, and then it's less than infinity. And again, you don't want to use an or equal to there. It's just, since it's infinity, you just use less than. And so that means it's going to be parentheses on both of these because it's an open circle at 2, and it's an infinity, so it gets a parentheses as well. All right. This is kind of the first time I'm seeing these notes as well, so if I don't know what to do exactly, just bear with me. All right, I don't know what this is referring to, so we're just going to kind of nix it for now, but set notation, if they wanted to make this statement in set notation, first thing you would do is you start with the squiggly, and then it's x, and then a line. And then you kind of imagine, well, if all the real numbers that are x is greater than 2, you just write x greater than 2 and close it. And that would be set notation of this statement. All real numbers, I guess it wants inequality first and then interval second. All real numbers is negative infinity to positive infinity. So as an inequality, that looks like negative infinity less than x less than positive infinity. I used less thans, not less than or equal to, because it's infinity or negative infinity. So that means as interval, it's going to be both parentheses. And this right here, negative infinity to positive infinity in interval form, you better get familiar with that because you're going to see it a lot. All right, and then practice. I'm just going to write them as an inequality and in interval form. So over here, the left side goes to negative infinity, the right side goes to negative 1. So as an inequality, that would look like this. As an interval, it would look like this. Oops. And I guess I'll go ahead and do set notation too. Set notation, it would look like this. Okay, this next one, my endpoints are at -2 with a closed circle and 4 with an open circle. So it would, as an inequality, it would look like this, -2 less than or equal to, because it has the closed circle, and then less than 4, and it's just a less than because it's an open circle. So interval, it would be a bracket on the -2, and then a parentheses on the 4. Sorry, there's a fly buzzing across my desk. Okay, and then set notation, it's going to be bracket, x such that -2 less than or equal to x less than 4, close bracket. All right, and then this last one, I have one endpoint at 3, and the other one's going to go to positive infinity. So as an inequality, 3 less than or equal to x less than positive infinity. Less than or equal to on the 3 because it's a closed circle, and then just less than because it's positive infinity on the other one. As interval form, it would look like bracket, 3, comma, infinity, parentheses. And then set notation, it would be x such that 3 less than or equal to x less than positive infinity, and then close the squiggly. So I think that about covers these first notes. Again, I don't really know what they're trying to get you to realize by this. If I figure it out, maybe I'll make another video and add it onto this or something. But that's 1.1, many more to follow.